So now we want to update the code for the Guess Now button so that it'll compare our guess to the secret number. Not very secret if you can see it, but we can change that too. It'll compare our guess to the secret number, and it'll show the result in the result text box. So let's do that now. I'm going to close the application, and I'm going to double click on the Guess Now button. Now if you remember, when I double click, it'll actually generate a click handler function, and it'll take me to it, where it added it in the code. Okay, so here we are. Created a button guess underscore click handler. So now, in the first line of the button guess click handler, we're going to use a new programming construct that we haven't talked about before, the if. And the if goes something like this. We're going to type if space open parenthesis if, even though if is not a function, all if statements have to be followed by at least one pair of parentheses. And inside the parentheses we type the condition for that if. So for example, in our case, we're going to type if nud guess dot value is greater than nud secret num dot value enter open curly brace enter close curly brace. Now what have I done here? So we started with an if statement. Then inside the parentheses we took our nud guess numeric up down control. We typed a period to access its members, and we're talking about we're accessing its value member. Remember, the value of a numeric up down control is the actual number that is displayed in the control. Now the type of the value field of a numeric up down is decimal, which is a numeric type which we don't use for anything except for numeric up down controls. At least I have never used it for anything else. And unfortunately I wish I could change it to be an integer, but it's not. We're stuck with what it is. So we take its value, then this is the greater than sign, of course, but in this case it's actually a comparison operator. So we're asking, is the value contained in the nud guess control greater than the value contained in the nud secret num control? Okay, so in plain English we're asking if the guess is greater than the secret number. So what happens if it is? So notice that here we close the parenthesis and we don't have a semicolon. Why? Because we're following the if with an open curly brace and a closed curly brace. Okay, so inside the open and closed curly brace is all the code that is going to execute if the number that we're guessing is greater than the secret number. And what we're going to do is we're going to update the text in the result text box to say that our guess was too big. And we're going to do it this way. We're going to say txt result dot text equals, and because text is of type string, as you would expect. We're going to use double quotes, and we're going to say here, and we're going to say, you guessed too high. Like that. Oh, semicolon. Just like that. Now below the end curly brace, we're going to do a new line, and we're going to have another if statement to check if the guess was lower than secret num. So we're going to type if, it's almost an identical line to what we had above, nud guess dot value, but now it's less than nud secret num dot value, close parenthesis, open curly brace, txt result.text is equal to you guessed too low, and double quotes, semicolon, and curly brace. Let's see if I can show this to you now. Like that. And last of all, we're going to check if they are equal. So I'm going to add another if statement, just like what we had before. If nud guess dot value. Now you might think that to check if two things are equal, we just use the equal sign. Well, in C, C++, and C#, they make a distinction between the equal sign that is an assignment operator, like we have been using so far, like when you want to set a variable to a certain value, and the equal sign that means that that is the comparison operator to check if two values are the same. And the comparison form of the equal sign uses two equal signs, one after the other, no space in between. So equals equals space nud secret num dot value. So now we're going to check if the two values are equal. Open curly brace, txt result dot text is equal to, how about correct? You win. Big whoop. And end curly brace. Like that. Now let's try it out. So now our secret number is 100 by default. Our guess is 50 by default. So our guess should be too low. So we'll click on guess now. What do you know? It says you guessed too low. Well, let's change our guess. Well, secret number is 100. We can't guess any higher than that. So I'm going to decrease secret number to 75. Now here, let's guess 78. You guessed too high. Very nice. Now what if I guess 75? Correct. You win. Whoopee.